Schmidt is with us now. And Ned got a couple of sites that you really should take a look at. I'm talking about the Value View Gold Report and the Agri-Food Value View. Did I get that right, Ned? And
you got it right.
Hey, that's a first. And take a look at his sites. And Ned, welcome back to the show.
How you doing, Kerry?
All is well. All is well. So, two manias and a side of silver, huh?
Yeah. I want to talk about gold for a second, but the situation in silver, it's starting to look like a setup. And you want to be watching silver and taking part in that market. On gold, now we broke 1,300 the other day when the 10-year Treasury went above 3%. I wouldn't read a whole lot of anything into that, because it hasn't gone any farther down. But gold does not have a direct connection to interest rates. There is no direct connection. There is no mathematical reason why the price gold should respond to interest rates, at least when they're at low levels. All right. Gold is being held back by two manias. One is in the equity market. And Kerry, I don't know if mania or bubble are the right word, but they're speculations. When investors are buying anything because they believe in the inevitability of higher prices, that's a scary equity market, or a scary market for baseball cards or Beanie Babies or anything. And you read articles that tell you that all five of the big names are going to all be trillion-dollar caps because it's inevitable. The only thing that's inevitable is the sunrise.
And death and taxes.
That's scary, Terry, and I don't know how to convince people to understand that. And on the 13th, what is that, 9 days from now, we are likely to get the 7th interest rate increase for the United States. There is a direct connection between interest rates and the value of stocks. Stocks are not some special item that exists in the universe by itself. There's a mathematical relationship, and that will eventually cut the legs out of even the big five. The other mania has been going on in the foreign currency markets. The dollar has been on a rally since the beginning of the year. It entered a parabolic rise. Parabolic rise is when the slope accelerates. We cannot determine when a parabolic ends, but they always crash in painful fashion.
Like Bitcoin.
If you want to see
right? Like Bitcoin did, right?
That's right. If you want to see a textbook picture of a parabolic rise and the aftermath, pull up a 1-year chart on the Bitcoin. And if anybody thinks that lateral pattern is going to end tomorrow, you're wrong. That lateral pattern, assuming that there is any value to Bitcoin, I think it's ultimately going to zero. But that lateral pattern could continue for another year, just like it has in gold stocks. So this thing with the dollar is utter nonsense. It's going to crater, and that's going to push gold up. But it is silver, Kerry, that's really giving what looks like a real opportunity. You and I have talked before about the net position in silver futures by large speculators.
Oh, we watch it all the time, constantly, right?
Yeah, right. Now, I'm going to try and describe what's going on here in generalities. I'm not worried about the gyrations in between. I'm looking at the big trend. In April of last year, the large speculators were net long about 105,000 contracts. Giant position.
That's huge.
By January of this year, which is 9 months, they had shed 40,000 contracts. So that's the first leg of the parabolic down. It then, by July I'm sorry, it's April. By April, they had shed another 55,000 contracts, essentially reducing their net position to below zero. Now, that's an inverted parabolic curve if you look at the giant trend. And in the last few weeks, it's broke out of it. So in all likelihood, the selling by large speculators is over. And they are more likely to be accumulating contracts than selling them. Now, why is that? It's because selling them didn't work. In all this selling they did, if you look at a chart of silver, 16 and a half, essentially 16 and a half, give or take a few pennies, has been a hard bottom on silver since the beginning of the year.
Mm-hmm.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times it hit 16 and a half and bounced off. If the large speculators have in fact ended their selling and likely become buyers, it's because they could not push silver down. If you can't push something down in price, the only direction left from a trader standpoint is up. So silver looks like it's been set up for buyers. And the commercials on TV may be finally right that silver's the best idea around this year.
Yeah, the only problem is that nobody's watching those commercials anymore. They're sick of them, right?
That is good, Terry.
But that really is like enough is enough already. You're like part of the stopped clock brigade, right? It's like the stop clock is right twice a day, and
well, I think they might be getting ready to be right.
All right, so the clock's about to stop
because it looks like a setup. You know, sometimes things just do set themselves up, and there is such a fascination with anything that can be called technology. I mean, come on, guys. Amazon is just a big warehouse. The cloud is nothing but a big file cabinet. And you can call it technology, but let's face it, the cloud is just a big file drawer.
Yeah.
So
That's so funny.
I think folks certainly need to own some gold, and they need to take a serious look at silver.
Sure.
And one of the first things to do is don't read any bearish stories. Don't read any bearish stories. It won't do you any good.
Okay.
Being bearish don't do you any good.
All right. So you're pretty confident about this one, huh?
Yeah. It sure looks like a setup, Terry, and sometimes when something looks like a setup, it is.
All right. Well, hey, I'm willing to listen to you on this one, Ned. So what's that going to bring? And what about, one thing I never talked to you about is platinum and palladium. I know you don't follow it too closely, but they are commodities and they are precious metals. They're part of the noble metal complex. What is your take on that?
To me, they're just industrial metals. I mean, it is their industrial consumption that makes them have any value.
Right.
And I don't think over time there would be enough investment demand to support them if any of that industrial demand disappeared. I think they're going to be economically sensitive.
Right. Yeah, that does make a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Somebody sent me a chart on cobalt the other day, which I don't follow either. But that is clearly in a parabolic rise. And if you go back in the same chart, there was one previously that arose and disappeared. So I think you've got to be careful with these fad metals during an economic expansion. That's why I don't do anything on lithium.
Yeah.
Because I think graphene is going to replace it.
And sodium potentially too. Sodium batteries seem to be in the offing.
The goal is going to be to make batteries way less, not way more.
Correct.
And actually, my simplistic view on lithium is there's nothing more than a call option on Tesla.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Tesla disappears, which is not impossible. Then the lithium bubble bursts. I don't want to be involved in that because I don't know what's going to happen to Tesla.
Hey, me neither. Me neither, but it certainly looks like they're hitting a rough spot. I don't know what the production of the Tesla 3 has been like lately, but they were lagging way behind their ambitious goals. And it's picked up a little bit, but I don't think enough for them to really generate the cash flow that they need.
That's my impression. But,
yeah, well, I guess we're going to find out. 23% of the reservations for the Model 3 were refunded. So, anyways, but supposedly the battery pack is working better production-wise. You know, it's going up, but there really hasn't been a story about it in around a month. So we don't really know the real numbers, you know? We don't know them at all. 10,000 a week, supposedly, full production volume, but is that going to be enough to save the company?
That's a bet, not something you can analyze. Unfortunately.
Yeah, how much do you believe in Elon Musk, I guess is the question.
Yeah.
You know.
Is he real or is he smoke?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Uh-huh.
I don't want to bet my money on having to make that choice decision.
No, thank you very much. No, not at all. No, but look, the shipments are going up. There's no question about that. But they're like, and then will the dog eat the dog food is the question, right? Just because you could make something doesn't mean the world really wants it, right?
That's true.
Yeah, like, hey.
As I have found out a couple times.
Yeah, tell me about it. Tell me about it. You know, in fact, you can be pretty sure they probably don't want it. It's the rare exception of stuff that they actually want, right? True?
That's right.
So, I mean, I do enjoy my electric bike. You know, they're doing 2,000 cars a week, 100,000 cars a year, and that's assuming the market is going to stay there for them. I think they're cool, but I don't know that it's something I necessarily would want. But, you know, who knows? Who knows? I guess we're going to find out. Hey, what's going on with our ag sector here?
The agri-food price index just recently hit a new high. And some of the commodities have just been exceptionally strong. Cotton at a high, chickens at a high, sorghum was at a high, rice, barley, corn. Corn hit both a 52-week high and the highest price in 90 weeks. I mean,
really?
It almost looks like there's a complete new environment for corn. And what's going on is the world is using more of it.
Yeah.
China is going to be forced to start, well, not exactly forced, is going to be importing more corn. Their corn imports will be up 25% this year. And part of it is that China has recognized that they're wasting money growing corn when it's cheaper to buy Iowa corn. And same thing with soybeans. Now, we had a lot of worry about the trade negotiations between Trump and China. If you read the U.S. press, you get one view. Mainly, you know, I've quit reading articles where the first sentence is Trump's a fool. this guy is not writing an article, he's writing a political opinion.
Yeah, it's...
But the Chinese...
Yeah, of course.
The Chinese press paints a far different story. And what their story is the Chinese are not sure exactly what the U.S. wants. The other is that China is already agreed to increase our agricultural imports. It's an easy one. It's an easy one because our grains are cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's an economic gain to China by importing our grain. And one of the beneficiaries of this is likely to be corn because the Chinese have been consuming more corn than they produce.
Mm-hmm.
And the other part of that is ethanol. We just got talking about electric cars, but ethanol is seen as the only viable short-term solution to auto pollution. And so China is going to import a lot more ethanol, a lot more grain to make ethanol rather than electric cars. They're going to spend a lot more money on ethanol.
Mm-hmm.
And in the United States, this crop year, the 2019 crop year, which starts September 1. When I talk about years, I'm talking in crop years. In 2019 crop years, we're going to use 40% of our corn production to make ethanol.
Mm-hmm. And
the administration is moving to year-round E15. And we're going to increasingly see E15 gasoline being offered. And so if you're driving around somewhere in the U.S. where you see E15, it will not kill your car.
Okay.
It just won't.
It'll lower your mileage, though, for sure. It's going to lower your mileage.
I don't know if it lowers the cost of mileage.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
It's
ethanol is cheaper than gasoline.
Yeah, that's true. It is cheaper, but less BTUs, British thermal units, per gallon. So you wind up getting less mileage.
But you pay a lower price.
I don't know how much lower you really pay because the oil companies hate it.
Sells for $1. Ethanol is selling wholesale for $1.43.
Mm-hmm.
And so it is cheaper. That's why in the United States we've been installing flexible gas pumps.
Mm-hmm.
The USDA spends $100 million a year for flexible gas pumps installation.
Right. Yes.
Which you can dial from 10% to 85%.
Mm-hmm.
And a driver, what they do is they figure out which mix is best for their car in terms of cost and performance.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to see more ethanol because it is the most easy solution to auto pollution.
Well, here's some figures for you, Ned. A gallon of ethanol has 76,100 BTUs. All right. A gallon of gasoline, of regular gasoline, I'll have that answer for you in a second, has like over 100,000, I believe, 115,000 BTUs. So it's got like a third less BTUs, and the price differential, maybe it's pretty close to what it is. But the point is, you got to fill up your damn tank more. I just want to fill it up with all 100% no ethanol gasoline, get my maximum mileage, and let the catalytic converter worry about the pollution. That's its job, right?
That's one way of looking at the world, Terry.
Yeah, well, hey, look.
There might be viable alternatives to that view.
Well, all I know is with
you just want to use money to do anything you want.
Yeah, well, kind of. But look, if E15, all right, has about 8% less BTUs, because that's probably what it's going to come out to, and it costs the same, I'm going to get 8% less mileage, which means if I average...
It doesn't cost the same.
Yeah, but if it all things being equal, it's not dramatic enough to really turn my head. But if I'm going 8% less miles on 300, on what I would usually get 300 miles to a tank, then I'm getting 276. So I would just as soon have all gasoline and just get my 300 miles. And if it's a couple cents more, just pay it. Because the inconvenience of going to a gas station, which is one of the allures of the Tesla, is definitely there. You know, who likes to go to the gas station? If there's any of you out there that like to go to the gas station, please send me an email, kl@kerrylutz.com, and explain why. That's the main question I would have, is why, you know, unless they've got like wet t-shirt contests at the car wash or something, I don't know why you would want to go to a gas station. It's a place to be avoided whenever possible. But anyway, so we're looking at the corn price almost has to go up based on what China's talking about. China doesn't know what the U.S. wants. Does the U.S. know what the U.S. wants?
I'm not totally sure of that, Jerry.
So,
but I think that the Chinese-American trade war is becoming somewhat of a non-event. The bigger trade war is going to be with Canada and the EU, because neither one of those countries believe in fair trade.
No, no.
It's just flat do not.
And Mexico too. Hey. So, and Justin from Canada is not the brightest bulb on the tree either. He doesn't get that they need us a hell of a lot more than we need them. And Mexico is certainly our 7th largest trading partner. You know, if they trade with them disappeared tomorrow, that would be a shame, wouldn't it?
Well, it's probably not going to disappear because there are too many locked-in relationships.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Between the country, yeah. And the bigger risk on Mexico is that the socialist takes control. And that's not a positive for Mexico's future.
No, it's not a good idea, but they'll just learn the hard way like everyone else does. Maybe they're trying to emulate Venezuela, right?
I think they are. I think that's the guy's goal. That's the model.
Yeah.
I mean, both this socialist candidate and Jerry Brown think Venezuela is the economic model to follow.
Well, it's worked so well for Venezuela, after all, right?
Yeah.
I mean, look at
like the one minister said, if people would quit eating so much, there would be food on the grocery shelves.
And, you know, you could also say if they didn't go to the bathroom as much because they're eating less, there'd be a lot more toilet paper on the shelves too, right?
That's right. It's all these people that want to eat. You know, we got to get rid of them.
Yeah, they're just nothing but trouble. Nothing but trouble. It's got to be stopped. You know, eat less. That was Secretary of Agriculture of the U.S., Earl Butz, once was reacting to the inflationary high increasing prices of food, and his recommendation was eat less. So, which you know, back then Americans were a lot thinner, but nowadays that probably wouldn't have been such bad advice, would it, Ned?
No, it wouldn't be. And if you ever been to Starbucks in the morning, you would be convinced of it.
Yeah, or McDonald's, or go to a mall, go to a casino.
That's the first. Starbucks is the first meal of the day for some people.
Yeah, well, it should be your last, but anyway, we won't go there. You know, they have enough problems, and they're just trying to get like who can use their bathroom policy correct and all that. So let's just leave Starbucks alone. They're in enough trouble without us. But getting back to the ags, I mean, we're in a bull market for ag commodities. No question about it. If sorghum is selling and most Americans can't even spell it, then you know something's going on with the ag commodities.
Right. Well, sorghum is a non-GMO. And the Chinese like to make their favorite alcoholic beverage out of it.
Oh, really?
I think it's pronounced Baiju. It's Baiju.
Really?
It's just, yeah. It's their version. It's China's vodka. You know, it's a basic food group in that country.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, this is pretty cool, Ned. Hey, just tell us again your two publications and where we find you.
ValueViewGoldReport.com and AgriFoodValueView.com.
All right.